Life is hard and confusing and boring, but it doesn't have to be. There's a reason video games are so popular. Firstly, you have clear objectives, and secondly, you can easily track your progress. You can actually apply this into your normal life, and soon mundane things will become much more fun. Stick until the end, where we'll share some cool tools to help you on your quest. So as I said, there's just two things that we need to focus on. We just need to set objectives and we need to track our progress. In terms of setting objectives, you can do this either for your work or for family, or you can do it for things outside of work or family, such as finances or your health. The objectives need to be very clear and ideally very easy to be measured, although I will talk a little bit more about that later. There's many different ways that you can do this. You can, for example, use a habit tracker, you can use a calendar, you can use Notion. There's many different apps that you can use, or my favorite is just a notebook. In terms of planning your life in a sense, because obviously there's like the main quest in a video game, there's all the side quests on the side, but then there's the main quest, and your life in a sense is the same. Like you have your main quest, your main objective in life, which for most people is, or maybe should be, having a job that you enjoy and having a family, basically, to put it as simple as possible. A very good way to kind of plan your life is the like 1 year, 1 month, 1 week, 1 day method. Sorry, 10 years before 1 year. You write down your ideal life in 10 years. All right, so I'm actually gonna share with you the plan that I made for myself. It's here, I have it open on Notion on my computer, so excuse me if I just decide to read it out. So I call this Clarity of Life exercise. So my 10-year goal is to have a family, have a job that I'm passionate about, be mentally and physically fit, to be responsible for other people at home and at work, to have a couple of different properties and different passive income streams, to be independent economically, but not like now, because I am technically independent economically. I actually want to be like a multimillionaire, and it might sound grandiose, but you have to shoot for the stars, because if not, what's the point, you know? So anyways, I want to be able to take care of my family and to be proud of who I am. So then my 1-year goal is to be living for free in Lackland's house, which is a friend of us, and he has a dog that we would be taking care of. So I would be living with the dog and with Ali, who is my girlfriend. I would like to be studying marketing and to have a part-time job to save some money. I want my YouTube channel to be earning money at this point, and I want to have a few paid clients for video work. I want to already be mentally and physically healthy, and I want to have a good social life and to be able to manage social time and alone time, and to be a good student and a hard worker. I want to be proud of myself. So obviously all of this is ideal life, you know. Some of these things are not going to pan out, or they're going to take longer than I expect, but there's nothing wrong in having an ideal life. You gotta aim for the stars if you want to at least hit the clouds. So then this month's goal is to save enough money, at least $2,000 to $3,000, to feel more comfortable when my sister comes for traveling, be mentally and physically fit so I can show her a good version of the person that I have become in these years living alone, since I haven't seen my sister or my family for 4 years. I want to give them a good impression of myself. I want to show her a good time in Melbourne, be a good tour guide and spend quality time with her, catch up on everything that has happened and remember who I am, because it's been a long time since I've spent time with my family and they are my roots, so that's important to me. I think I will get very inspired to keep pursuing my dreams, maybe with some collaboration from my sister, because she's actually studying business and she's studying a little bit of marketing, so I think we could help each other even business-wise, not only family-wise. So and this week's goal is to not be late for work, to work as much as possible, to let the people at Rocco Mamas know that I'm leaving in 2 weeks, because I am leaving in 2 weeks. I want to script, record and edit and upload new videos and shorts, talk with my therapist, get the tax problem fixed and try to get the tax back, print paperwork for passport, I need to extend my passport, to meet up with Arslan, who's a friend, and I need to investigate the student visa. And what I can do today, this is actually, I was writing this like 2 days ago at night time, so it was just to go to sleep relatively early, write plan for tomorrow, meditate with Ali, learn with focus. So actually watch YouTube videos with focus, because I was watching long videos, kind of like exposition videos. This is not something that you do once in your life. You do it at the very least once a year. I think it really helps, and obviously if you go building from up down, every goal is building towards your 10-year goal, ideally. And this will change. That's why you don't do this just once in your life, because stuff will change in your life. You're going to notice that what you thought you wanted before is not what you actually want. So that's why it's very important to do this at least a couple times in your life. Another cool idea is the future me. So there's a website called Future Me where you can write an email to yourself and it will send you that email you can select if you want to do it in 6 months or 1 year. But this is a good way to remind yourself to stay on track, I kind of set expectations for myself, and then in 6 months when I get that email, I read it and I say like, have I lived up to those expectations? Am I making past me proud or am I not? So from there, that's kind of the big picture stuff. If we go into the small picture stuff, you gotta do what feels more comfortable to you. That's why you have to learn, you have to play around, and you gotta find your own methods. The method that works for me is a very simple method. I just grab my notebook and every night before I go to sleep, I write down 3 things that I want to do the next day. Those things are things that are not scheduled anywhere else. So for example, if I have arranged to meet a friend, that friend knows that I'm going, I know that I'm going, so I don't need to write that in my notebook. Or if I'm going to work, I don't need to write that down. But I'm writing down things that if I don't do them, if I don't show up, nobody will care but myself. So for example, very important is manage my YouTube channel or keep track of my finances or do certain paperwork that I need to do. If I have habits that I'm already following, like meditation or exercise or stuff like that, I don't write it down. But if I haven't been doing it for a while and I want to get back into it, or if I'm learning new habits, then yes, I will put it down as a thing. And it's very important for me to keep it to just 3 things because that gives me enough time for spontaneity in my life, so I'm not just a rigid machine, but that's just what works for me. Some people have like a more mathematical brain and they're more like engineers, and for those people that would probably work, but for me, I like to have a bit of a sense of freedom, because if not, why am I even doing this? So that's why I just do 3 things, and in that way I'm also making sure that those 3 things are important. They have to be important. If not, there's no reason in writing them down. Alright, so the second part of this video is about tracking your progress. So there's many different ways of doing that. There's many different habit trackers that you can use. You can use a notebook, you can use a calendar, and I'm going to talk about some specific methods in the last part of the video, so just stick until the end. But as I was saying, an easy one for me to measure is money. So going back to what I was saying about the spreadsheet, I know that until now, more or less half of the year has gone by. I've made around $21,000 and I have spent around $21,000. So that is really bad, I know, but by tracking my progress, I at least know that I have made $21,000. If I hadn't tracked this, I would be saying to myself right now, it's impossible to make money, I am unable to make money. But because I have tracked it, I know that it's not impossible to make money. I actually have made quite a lot of money. That's like $40,000 a year, which I know it's minimum wage, but for a guy like me who doesn't have, I basically don't have studies and I'm just working minimum wage jobs, I think that's pretty good. I'm a foreigner, I'm not even like a resident here, so I'm actually okay with that. The actual problem that I need to work on is saving more money. I just need to spend less of that money, which in a sense is easier than actually trying to make more money. It's easier to stop spending money than it is to make more money. I might be wrong in this, to be honest. People that have made a lot of money might disagree. In my case, I think it's good for me to know more specifically what I need to work on, and I wouldn't be able to know this if I weren't tracking my progress. For stuff like physical goals, your progress, of course you can take pictures, that's very helpful, or you can measure your weight, but it can even be more empirical. Like, can you kick the ball further than you could kick it yesterday? Are your abs a little bit more noticeable than they were yesterday? Or, I don't know, can you hang longer for a wall than you could yesterday? You know, those are all things that make you very proud. You don't need to write them anywhere down, but you can track them in your mind just by noticing it, and you'll feel very happy. You'll feel that you're doing progress, and it will give you motivation to keep working towards that goal. So before I get into some little tools that you can use to make all of this easier, I just want to talk about why you really want to turn your life into a video game, in a sense. So one of the main benefits is that it'll give you enough distance from your life to look at it from a more objective point of view and not so emotional. You won't be so stressed about everything. Like, you'll see problems as challenges instead of just like stressful events that make no sense. It's kind of like a canon event, if you will, that will take you closer to where you want to be, or sometimes it'll take you further away, but at least you're tracking it. At least you kind of know a little bit more what direction your life is heading into. You know what your main quest is. So stress will always be a factor. Stress will always be there. You'll always have really hard times in your life, but that will only make your accomplishments feel even better than it will in a video game. Another thing that I like is that this has really helped me to become more acquainted with myself. So I know a little bit more about how my brain works, and I know a little bit more about how to work with myself to accomplish these goals. So for example, I know for me, if I'm too hard on myself, if I put too many challenges, I eventually relapse, and I relapse even harder than I was before into all the bad habits. So I actually use kind of like an Aikido or Feng Shui approach. This is why I don't have too many habit trackers. I don't have nothing too fancy. Even my Notion template for my YouTube channel is very basic. When I write down in my notebook, I write like just 2-3 sentences about how my day has been, and then just 3 points of what I want to do the next day, because I know this gives me enough freedom to still do stuff that I enjoy that's maybe not working towards my goal. So for example, when I go and take a shit, I still watch Instagram Reels, you know? Or when I'm feeling lazy, I still watch Instagram Reels. I'm just happy with the fact that I'm watching much less of it than I would be watching if I didn't have a main quest. For example, I play League of Legends also, which is very addictive, and many people have ruined their life because of League of Legends. But I actually haven't played for like a week, and I didn't even notice it. And then maybe today, if I finish everything early, I might play a little bit. That's just what works for me, because I know if I don't do these things, I'm gonna feel like I'm depriving myself of something, and I'm going to relapse very hard. So yeah, that's just what works for me. Again, if you're an engineer, if you want to optimize and you want to get to your goal as fast as possible, maybe that won't work for you. But I'm trying to make this a lifelong goal, and that actually takes a lot of pressure out of me, and that's pressure that I would have if my goal were to reach this by the time I was 30 or something like that. I want to have a certain level of success by the time I'm 30, of course, because I want to start having family at that point, but it just helps me to kind of have this Feng Shui Aikido approach. It's better, for example, it's also better to work 1 hour on your goals every day than it is to work maybe for 7-8 hours on one day and then not do it for the next month. Better to be consistent, even though it might be a smaller amount of time per day. All right, so now, yes, let's talk about the cool tools that we can use. So first off, we have TickTick, which is like, it's like an app that we can use to set goals, and we can tick off those goals. That's why it's called TickTick. But most importantly, it has a habit tracker. So on the free version, you can have, I think, until 5 habits, and then you can put if you've done a habit a certain day or not, and then we'll put it in the calendar, and then you'll see what days you've done a habit and what days you haven't, and you'll have a streak, and you won't want to break that streak, which is obviously very good. Then there's just the Notes app. If you don't want to get too into this, or you like the Feng Shui approach that I have, just any Notes app will do wonders. Then there's Notion, which I use Notion for my YouTube channel. It's actually a very, very powerful app. It's like a Notes app on steroids. So you can, I don't even know how to explain it, because I would probably have to do a full video about it, but you can put everything in here. You can put tick-in boxes, you can make different pages, you have AI tools, you can make a calendar, you can link to different pages, you can collaborate with different people. I mainly use it for my YouTube channel and maybe 1 or 2 other things, but you can use this for literally everything. You could have your whole life in Notion, and I think that's great. A favorite of mine is Habitica. So this is an app that you download on your phone, which literally gamifies your life. So it gives you an avatar, and you have different habits, and every time you accomplish a habit, it gives you a little bit of money, and you can use that money to buy swords or equipment or whatever for your avatar. So then the more powerful your avatar becomes, the more powerful you become in real life, because it hasn't become more powerful because of a game that you've played. It's become more powerful because of the game that you've played in real life. And there's also a good social element to it. So you have different groups about different habits, and you can go into those groups and share your progress and learn from other people. So I really like Habitica. I really recommend you give it a try. It's a good app. Last but not least, there's the notebook. And this is the only one that I use. I use Notion for my YouTube channel. I use Notes for different stuff, like just like having a book list or reading list or stuff like that. But I mostly use my notebook. And as I said, that's what works for me. When I have stuff written down on my phone, it's just too easy to go to the Instagram app. There's too little separation between being productive and just procrastinating. Both start with a P, that's interesting. So when I keep it on a notebook, I'm actually keeping it on a physical object that is separated from my phone, which really helps me. If I have an idea, I can just draw it. I don't have to just like right click and select bullet list or whatever. I just like the notebook. So you have to choose what approach works for you. If you don't know that yet, you should probably try all of these and just see for yourself. It's taken me years to come to this. I've used all of these apps, that's why I'm recommending them. So yeah, just try out whatever works for you. I guess there's not much more to say. As always, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, I don't ask much of you. I'm only asking you that you give it a like, that you subscribe, and if you have any advice or anything that you would like to let me know, just comment it down below. There's not many people commenting, so statistically, I will read your comment. That's it. As always, I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.